genetically modified foods, also known as GM foods. GM foods are any plants or animals whose genes have been manipulated in some way through genetic engineering. The controversy surrounding genetically modified foods is whether they are necessary to humans. Those opposing genetically modified foods claim that they are harmful to the environment and may have unforeseen detrimental effects on humans. However, I'm going to be arguing against opposition. I'll be arguing that genetically modified food play an important role in improving human life. To support this claim, I will be showing you how GM foods provide benefits that conventional crops lack, how GM crops can reduce the harmful effects of pesticides on humans, and finally how GM crops can help improve human health. First of all, GM foods provide more benefits than conventional crops, which in turn provide more benefits for humans. GM foods have higher tolerance in droughts and winter seasons compared to conventional crops, allowing them to survive in areas where conventional crops cannot. One way scientists are able to improve crop tolerance to cold climate is by inserting anti-freeze protein, or AFPs, into certain plants, allowing them to survive in colder temperatures that would typically kill conventional crops. In a 1997 case study that was published in the Plant Molecular Biology Journal, scientists were able to transfer the anti-freeze protein from cold water fish into the potato plant. According to the journal, scientists were able to establish correlation between the level of transgenic protein expression and degree of solvent secretion, which basically means that they found that the new genetically modified potatoes containing AFPs were able to withstand colder temperatures than unmodified potatoes. Similarly, in a 2005 case study, scientists were able to successfully transfer the anti-freeze gene from an Antarctic fish into the strawberry plant. Along with inserting AFPs into certain plants to improve their tolerance to cold climate, scientists have been able to improve plant tolerance to drought and salinity. The UN projects by the year 2050, the world population will reach 9.6 billion, with the current population being around 7.2 billion. So with this increasing population growth, there is an increasing need for more land to farm on. However, certain areas of land are deemed inarable due to droughts and salinity. By producing genetically modified crops that are able to tolerate droughts and saline soil, we will be able to increase the amount of arable land. In 2000, scientists performed a case study published in the Journal of Forestry Research, where they were able to produce plant embryos that protected themselves against and were unaffected by drought. Similarly, in 2001, scientists from the University of Toronto and UC Davis performed a scientific study where they were able to successfully produce genetically modified tomatoes that could withstand higher concentration of salt in soil. By creating GM crops that are capable of surviving colder climates and droughts, scientists can increase the yield rates of crops and food production, which conventional crops are incapable of doing, showing that GM crops are capable of providing humans with benefits that conventional crops fail to provide, thereby improving human life. Secondly, GM foods can reduce the harmful effects of pesticides on humans by reducing and possibly eliminating the need for pesticides. Since the Green Revolution that occurred during the 1940s and 1960s, there has been an increase in chemical pesticide use because the pesticides allow farmers to increase their crop yield. However, pesticides are toxic, and by spraying them on crops, humans are consuming these pesticides and are harmful to them. According to the EPA, pesticides have been linked to birth defects, nerve damage, and cancer in humans. By creating GM crops that are resistant to specific pests, we can prevent the further use and development of pesticides. According to an article published in the Applied and Environmental Microbiology Journal, Bacillus thuringiensis, or BT, is a bacterium known to control a variety of insect pests. Field trials done in India on BT cotton results in higher yield and lower pesticide use. Similarly, in China, there are farm-level pre-production trials being done on GM rice that were made to be insect resistant, and through a random survey conducted on these farms, the surveyors have found that farms producing the insect resistant GM rice tend to have not only higher yields but also lower pesticide use. However, there is some concern over the safety of BT crops and unforeseen health risks that BT crops may have on humans. We don't yet know if BT crops may have adverse effects on human health due to their relatively new existence. However, scientists have yet to find any adverse effects of BT crops on humans, and if BT crops are found to be safe for human consumption, then they could reduce the use of pesticides and along with it the harmful effects of pesticides on humans. Lastly, GM crops further improve the life of humans by providing more ways to improve human health. In 2000, a case study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences Journal, scientists have discovered an edible vaccine for the hepatitis B virus. What they did was they took the hepatitis B surface antigen and inserted it into potatoes and yeast and tested the efficiency of both GM crops on mice. What they found was that the genetically modified potato vaccine was more effective than the yeast vaccine in fighting the hepatitis B virus. and was able to produce the antigens necessary to fight HBV. Prior to this case study, scientists were also able to produce similar results in a similar case study done on genetically modified tobacco virus. Along with vaccine, GM foods can further improve human health by providing more nutrients and vitamins that can't be found in organic crops. An example of a GM food that provides humans with more nutrients than its organic counterpart is golden rice. Golden rice is a genetically engineered brand of rice that contains the beta-carotene. The beta-carotene plays a role in the production of vitamin A, and in a 2009 case study that was published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, scientists tested the efficiency of golden rice in producing vitamin A when consumed by humans. Through this case study, scientists found that the beta-carotene derived from golden rice is effectively converted to vitamin A in humans. According to the 2009 case study done on golden rice, vitamin A deficiency can result in visual or ocular malfunctions such as night blindness or xerophthalmia. So the success of golden rice is important because this means it can be produced in areas where vitamin A deficiency is a problem. So the creation of GM foods with increased nutritional contents allow for malnourished people, specifically from third world countries, to retrieve the necessary nutrients to be healthy and provide the solutions to the malnutrition epidemic. So in conclusion, GM foods provide humans with benefits that can't be obtained from conventional crops, such as increased crop yields and food production, reduce the harmful effects of pesticides on humans by limiting the need for pesticides, and improve the overall health of humans, which goes to show the important role of GM crops play in improving human life.
Right, well, the proposition is identified and you lay out the contents of the speech pretty clearly, although the controversy on this seems to be someplace else about whether or not it is safe. You start off by telling us that at the beginning of the speech, and then you come back to it towards the end of the speech. So if that's where the controversy is, why are we hearing all the argument about all the benefits that these things can provide, assuming that they all work out well, instead of the argument that this is in fact going to be safe for people to consume, and it'll be something that's reliable for us. I think that's the main weakness in the argument part of the presentation. You do signpost as you go through pretty effectively. You've got a ton of information in the speech that I think that you cite very clearly, and you give us source citations on those, the sources for all of the case studies, for instance. I'm not exactly sure what a case study might consist of. The fact that they were able to do it once doesn't necessarily mean that they fed large portions of people. It seems to me like it is an inference that's being made based on the case study, and I don't have any doubt about the science behind the case study. There might be some practical issues that come up. If there's been a large-scale application of any of these things, it would have been helpful for you to maybe provide that illustration. The main problem with the presentation is that it's not a presentation. It's basically a paper being read out loud, and there's almost no eye contact. You don't look at the audience. You rush so quickly through it that I don't know that people are always going to be paying attention to all of the secondary issues. I thought on the third point, for instance, that issues got conflated. You had 2 points that you're dealing with there, and the second part of the third point was the one where there was actually some argument that applied. The first part of it really was extraneous to the main issue that you were talking about. Because you're rushing through it, it's also likely that people are going to, casual listeners especially, will tune out a little bit more regularly. I think you needed to maybe choose fewer case examples and maybe one less supporting point to develop for your argument here. Or, for instance, focus on the issue of the food safety, and that might be a little bit more clearly controversial. And then instead of presenting all the data about how wonderful this stuff is going to be, you'd be forced to talk about the issue of safety, which maybe there's less data on, but it requires you to make your inferences a little bit more clearly. So it's well organized, it's incredibly nicely researched, but it's not very well presented, and the issue of the conflict needs to be a lot clearer. All right, thank you.